do a hybrid, but I mean, borrowing from mom and dad and from family is always going to be cheaper as far as actual financially, for sure.
Yeah.
But what we are about is just making it easy to get qualified, get those loans, and close fast. Okay. So that program I can generally close in 10 days or less. If you've been through before, maybe as little as 5 days from start.
Okay.
To do better in their business, but I also have to
I don't know how to do it.
So do you lend your own funds, or do you write it for somebody else?
No, we're a broker.
Okay.
But we are a broker that different from like other mortgage companies in that we don't do any consumer loans. So your regular mortgage company typically does not have our products. Like I'm prohibited from doing consumer loans. Not me personally, but I mean my company. I don't mix them because.
So you only do DSCR loans? Is that right?
DSCR can be offered by conforming loan lenders.
Yep.
But if you are doing a DSCR loan through a non-QM lender, you're still normally held to the standard or bar that a consumer lender is. So there's some crossover. Okay. The difference is that there's no requirement on us to show the ability to repay.
Got it.
Okay. On a consumer loan, you have to show the ability to repay in some kind of way, whether that be stated, whether that be the rent, whether that be bank statements or profit and loss statements. We don't require any of that. Okay. Necessarily. Okay. We do have loans that want that, and you get some different terms, but we can literally do it without any of the above. We can only loan to businesses, though. We can't loan to an individual.
Okay. So that's kind of your distinction is, so that kind of brings me to my next question is, we have in our Facebook group, in our community, we have a lot of new people, whether it be new wholesalers, new investors, people just trying to learn. Okay. And, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. It was because I wanted to know, hey, if they're trying to do their fix and flips, if they're trying to do their BRRRR strategy, if they're trying to do all of that, the buy and holds with the BRRRRs and things like that, what do they need from you for a beginner who's never done a deal before? What do you recommend they do when they come to you? What do they need?
Well, the first thing there's several things, Randy. First thing they want to do is have a real clear idea. When they're talking to you about a loan, they want to have a clear idea of the project. So the first thing I teach and say, we qualify the project, not the individual. All right.
Right.
And one of the reasons about this for me, I had so many barriers. I kept being told, no, you can't do that. No, you don't have what it takes. You don't have what it needs. And so everything, I was constantly being told no, if I had somebody who would just help me with my idea. Right. And so I concentrate first on what is the project? How is this going to be a profitable project? That's what I start with. Okay. Then the next part is I started asking them questions to find out what other pieces that they're going to need. Because if you're going to borrow the money from any of the traditional type, I'm going to call them syndicated lenders, there's different buckets. So what I've done is I've set up a whole bunch of different buckets. Okay. And so depending on how they answer the questions, I start to filter them. So can you buy a house with no money down? Yes. Well, that might mean that you need to have a credit score here, or maybe, and if you don't have that, well, then you may need to get a partner into your LLC or start a new LLC and put that person on with you. So you may need to pair up. So the first part is you need to have a clear picture of what you want to do. The next part is you need to have a good understanding of how much money you have to work with, because it can be anywhere from 0 to 25, 30% down, depending on the rest of the story. Okay. And then you want to know who do you feel comfortable working with? Another part is you're going to want to know how is this house going to be? If you're doing a fix and flip, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do the work?
Right.
How are you coming up with it? And then your evaluation. So I actually have a regular training program, Randy. I don't know if you mind if I bring that up. But
I don't mind at all. Yeah, please do.
So every week. And so because of that, I would get those calls, and so many people really had no idea how to get started. A lot of people that work with me don't have any money. I even had a homeless person myself that I've helped. He now is no longer homeless again over the summer. And every Wednesday, so it's every Wednesday at noon, it's Unstoppable Funding University on Facebook. It's Unstoppable Funding University. It's a group. So just search group, Unstoppable Funding University group.
And I believe we have those links in the description if you're having trouble finding it, by the way. So look in the description. I believe we have those there.
And so every week we have an ongoing class. It covers about probably 10 modules, I would say. Each module is about 1 to 2, 3 weeks long. But we take you through everything, like how to evaluate a property, how to find a property. I started from the standpoint that you don't have anything and you don't have a clue, right?
Yeah.
You don't have any resources. So first thing I do is start teaching how can you make money right now. And so I used the same steps I did. First thing was being a bird dog. And then to do that, you need to know how to evaluate properties and filter.
Yep.
The next thing I did was teach wholesaling, okay? Because that's another thing I did to get me jump started, okay? Then after that, start getting into the fix and flip and all the different buckets that I just described, because every lender is going to have different rules. And this is why you want to go through someone like me as opposed to going straight to the lender. Because when you go straight to the lender, if you don't fit their box, they're going to tell you no. All right. Or you don't go to your regular mortgage company when you want to do flips. Just like if you got brain cancer, your general doctor is not the guy, he's going to refer you to a brain cancer specialist if you want to live, right? Or a surgeon. So I'm very specialized to offer the very best product possible for investing in real estate. So for fix and flips or long-term BRRRRs. So then we go from that, and then we go into the BRRRR method and qualifying for that, and the different avenues. Now, some people, so we have products and they replace the DSCR, Randy, why this is important. So a lot of people today would like to, they want their goal is to fix it up so they can do short-term rentals, right? There's so much money that can be made, right? With doing short-term rentals is that if you don't have a history of short-term renting on that particular property or your own, well, we can't use that rent to qualify you. Okay.
Right.
So if you're stuck with and a lot of times on the larger loans, the DSCR method, and what that is, guys, for those of you who don't know, DSCR says that the new mortgage payment can't exceed your rent. So the mortgage payment, including your taxes, insurance, and homeowners association dues, cannot exceed your rent, or have to be within a certain ratio, either above or below, depending on your LTV. All right. And so, and you'll see that when you get to larger homes, so you start to get to 200, 300, 400, that the long-term rent doesn't seem to support the mortgage anymore, especially where rates are in recent months. Okay. So, so what we do, but see, short-term rentals make sense for a lot of my clients. I have a guy in Inkster, right? He's got 200 houses in Inkster. He gets $4,000 a month on these houses from short-term rentals. Okay. Which is just ridiculous. These are little 1,000 square foot houses. He's getting an average of $4,000 a month.
Right.
So what we do is we put them into a loan that doesn't use the DSCR math. All right.
Right.
Boom. You're out of it. You fix the house up. So you get into it, Randy, with maybe you put 10% down. All right. To do the fixing. Maybe you're lucky enough to do $0 down. Whatever regard, you're putting 10% down. We fund all of the rehab money, right? Now, when you go to refinance it, we're going to use the new value. Okay. So you might have paid 100 for it, but now it's worth 200. Maybe 120 because of the money you put into it. We can give you a loan maybe up to 150. So now you got not only the money that you have invested, but you even get some cash back. And I'm able to do that without having to necessarily use the DSCR method. Now you can, if you qualify, you're going to get a better rate. Okay. But
Right.
the thing is that it's there as an option that they may not have otherwise. Now, if you have a great job and you have good income, you're going to be able to still navigate it, but you're going to have more red tape. My loans are meant to be very quick, fast, easy, and I try to make it so everybody can get one.
So I'll give you a scenario that I see a lot, and I'll actually give you a couple different scenarios so that you can tell me what's the best way to, should somebody come to you for this, or should somebody try to figure out if they can work with a family member or try to find somebody who's done it and partner with them. Whatever the case for a fix and flip or a burr, to me, a fix and flip and burr is going to be the same thing. So, first scenario would be if somebody's working their 9 to 5, okay, they have a W-2 income.
Okay.
And they want to buy a fix and flip property. Okay. And they want to just fix and flip it because they know they can make $40,000 later on, whatever the case may be.
Gotcha.
Would you in that type of, they've never done a deal before. Okay. What would you expect from them if they were to come to you, or would you recommend they try to hit up family, hit up anybody else that they can work with, or anything like that? So would you expect like a 20% down? Would you expect a 10% down? What kind of rates ish? Not, you don't have to get specific, but things like that.
So great question. So first of all, you definitely want to come to us as opposed to a conventional lender. And I'm going to give you, there's so many reasons why it's going to be kind of mind blowing. Okay. So conventional lender, you're trying to do a fix and flip. One, they're going to make you go get actual like bids and estimates. Okay. Forget that. Right. Number two.
So real quick, before we go further, what I'm getting at is they're looking to do, say, a quick, basically a wholesale deal, coming from a wholesale deal, or not either, or it's like an all cash offer type stuff where we have to use a hard money lender, or we have to use family.
Okay. So
who has cash?
Well, if you have family who has cash, man, I mean, that's hard to pass up. I mean, if you've got that golden avenue, but that can cause grief and friction among family members. But yes. I want you to let you know something, okay? We don't ask you if you qualify for the program, and there is a credit parameter that you're going to have to meet. So 660, all right? Okay. Kind of it for this type of loan. And I have other buckets. So bucket one, which was just last week's class, and I can definitely show you a PowerPoint because I already have it done. So bucket one, if you have a 660, you're going to need 20% down. All right. Mm-hmm. But remember, and if you're above 720, you only need 10% down, regardless of your experience. Okay. But remember, this program does not ask you where you got the money. You don't know bank statements. You don't show it to me. So you can go borrow it from mom and dad, which they might be more comfortable on a loan. You can borrow it from some dude you met at the bar. You can even get seller seconds. If the seller's open to it. So from that standpoint, you could possibly do a hybrid, but I mean, borrowing from mom and dad and from family is always going to be cheaper as far as actual financially, for sure. Yeah. But what we are about is just making it easy to get qualified, get those loans, and close fast. Okay. So that program I can generally close in 10 days or less. If you've been through before, maybe as little as 5 days.
Okay. And what do you expect from a new investor? 10, 20%? Like, how much do you, because I know that hard money lenders, they want to see the investor have some sort of cash in the deal,
So they typically, and again, so if you're above 720, and this one does require what I'm going to call an AUS, automated underwriting system response. That's an accept. So 720 and up is 10% down.
Okay.
680 and up is going to be 15%. So 680 to 720 and 660 to 680 is going to be 20%.
Got it.
You don't have to have the experience. Now, if you fail this program, then I have to go to other programs, and other lenders may ask you for bank statements or may have additional requirements.
So if you failed that, then it doesn't necessarily mean you're SOL. It just means let's look someplace else and see what else we can find.
And maybe you do need to run out and get a partner, or maybe we need to match you up. And that's one of the reasons why I have the group too, because it creates this environment where they can just reach out to other investors like themselves. And everyone has strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes marrying this up in the right way can create a very strong team to get the job done.
Okay. All right. So that's good to hear that at least somebody can come through who's new. They have a 9-to-5, things like that. You don't really care about where the money's coming from, to be honest. So even if they're self-employed, for as long as you meet that criteria, as far as the credit score, it doesn't matter, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So,
and that's the same for my long-term rentals too.
Okay.
I mean, there's no reserves. There's no checking your bank account. There's forget about it. It's the easy, it's almost like I tell other loan officers and mortgage companies about it, mind blown, just what?
Right.
What?
So just to let you know, you guys, you out there is watching this, may sound like a commercial or anything like that. This is actually stuff I want to know. And I know that people out in my group and in my people, they want to know this. Hey, it may be simple, but every time I see a lender and I try to ask these simple questions, it just depends on the situation and the situation here and this and that, and they never get a straight answer. Like, I seriously have to. I've gone because I've thought about starting doing some fix and flips myself, and I'm like, okay, well, what's your rate? If I find the property, where do you need to be at? Where do I need to be at? ARV, everything, 85%, 75%. What do I have to put in? Things like that. And I just could not get that.
Great. So that was a great one. ARV, guys. So ARV, if you don't know what that is, that's as repaired value. Okay. And so what we do, the reason why you can only be 10% down, and I actually do have lenders that are 0 down. The reason why you can be that is because they're looking at the value of the finished house. Okay.
Yep.
And so we can go up to 75% ARV if you pass this AUS thing. Other than that, you're going to be 70, maybe 65 with most other programs.
Okay.
Of the ARV. And so that means it's, that's for us to navigate for you. Most of the people do fit in bucket 1. Most of the clients that come to me do fit in bucket 1. But
and real quick, do you have a minimum?
Yes, great question. So for bucket 1, it's $100,000. Not sales price, total loan. So we include the rehab as the total loan. For long-term rental loans, which are I'll call them permanent loans. I don't know what else to call them. So permanent loans, $75,000 for most lenders. I do have others. I can go all the way down to $25,000. But that, when you do that, the costs start to get different. The requirements get different because I'm having to go into the lender's office.
So you don't necessarily don't have options, but like the problem we see is that sometimes in Detroit we have the lower cost properties.
I do a lot in Detroit, Randy.
Yeah, so there's you may buy a house for 25 grand, want to put 30 to 40 grand into it, and the ARV is 90 to 100,000.
Absolutely. I started the class because some of you may have heard of the Land Bank team.
Yes.
People are subscribed to it. So Charles Noonan was one of my clients. And so he brought me on as saying, this is my guy that, got me going in London.
Yep.
And so I got deluged with all these people, and he put me in his book too. So, so I had all these people calling to do these land bank deals, right? And so for those of you who don't know, you can buy a house for like $500, land bank, $1,000, $2,000. And the thing is, though, you have in Detroit anyway, you have to fix it, and you have this restricted deed. And so I would try to explain, and so I found myself on the phone literally as long as you and I have been talking, trying to walk somebody all the way through this. And so, well, I'm just going to do it all at once in a class. So I kind of created it originally for that, and I said, you know what, everybody can benefit from this. And so that's why the class. And I'm keeping it free, and it's totally free because for me, when I was getting going, money was a barrier, and I don't want money to be a barrier for people.
No, 100%. I agree with that. So I actually I'm going to be starting a coaching program for wholesaling real estate. And as much as I want to give it away for free, eventually when I get it up and going, I'm in beta test with it with about 6 people at the moment. So just to kind of get my systems going, like I'm literally swinging by the seat of my pants with this. But once I go through this once, it's going to, things are going to come back and not come back. Sorry. My systems and my processes and things like that. So there will be a charge for it because it'll take up some of my time. It will also, as much as I want to learn, teach people, they also don't value as much when they don't pay for it. Unfortunately,
I think that there's some truth to that, and for sure. Tony Robbins said that first time he tried to do his seminars, he wasn't, they're like really cheap and nobody's coming. And when he put in a bigger price tag, the rooms were filled. And
most definitely,
so I definitely toy with that. Right now I'm just concentrating on giving the value, and we don't teach everything from A to Z on wholesaling. There's a whole lot of gaps. You can't cover that much in an hour, guys.
No.
So it's not, you're not going to watch that and be like an expert wholesaler by any means. You might be lucky, but you're not going to be an expert at it for sure.
And you know what? I'm only teaching what I do, which is cold calling. So there's a bunch of other marketing techniques and stuff, things like that. So it's crazy. But
there was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view.